There's this technique that is so key to visual animation that it kind of blows my mind that we've never used it for making music. So today I'm going to use that technique with Scapeshift to make music. So the technique I'm talking about is keyframing. If you've ever made music inside a DAW, you'll have seen automation curves, whether you're recording in audio or you're recording in MIDI. On those channels, you can select parameters and then you can draw individual lines for how those parameters change over time. But if you've ever done any video editing or maybe even some visual animation, you'll be used to working slightly differently with these parameters because you often use these things called keyframes. And what keyframes do is, instead of thinking of each individual parameter as a single automation curve, what you do is you take all of the parameters that you're dealing with, let's say the position of an object, its rotation, where the light's coming from, and you actually take a snapshot of all those parameters all at once, and then you can sequence these keyframes on a timeline. And there's a number of reasons why that doesn't really work with most music making software, and I won't go into the details of why specifically, but when I was making Scapeshift, this is one of the things that I really wanted to be able to do for music, because I think it's such a powerful way to deal with composition. And the reason that this is possible in Scapeshift is because everything is a continuous parameter. So not just the sound engines, let's say the filter cutoff and the envelope settings, but also the way that it actually generates what you'd usually think of as MIDI notes or events. Scapeshift is fully parametric. So all the things that generate, let's say, drum sequences and melodies and bass lines and chords, those are all controlled by things that have continuous parameters. And what this unlocks is basically the ability to work like you would work in a visual animation environment or maybe a video editor, that you can take snapshots of all of these parameters at once, and then you can lay those out on the timeline and build a sequence that way. So this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do it inside Scapeshift. So I'm not going to dive into the depths of Scapeshift today. I've made some other videos on that. I'll link those in the description. But what you can see in front of you is the top level. And we've got these 12 different themes. We can just roll the dice on those themes to get something going. I'm going to hit Acid Melt, see what comes up there. I'm just going to flip through some of these themes. So what I'm doing here is essentially just combining different parameters from various different patterns that I've kind of built in the background. I want to build a kind of like dub techno-y kind of track here. So I'm just gonna, well, actually tell you what, let's flip back through some of these variations. So that's a bit fast. What we're going to do is dial this back to 125 BPM, and I'm going to lock in the effects and the key and the tempo, and let's try some. Quite like those drums. I'm not a big fan of that lead line. Let's just mute that for now. The bass is maybe a bit heavy. I think I want something a bit more subby. That's nice. That's nice. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to save this pattern. Just hit this plus icon here and it saves it down in that little slot there. I can also go back to the patterns page here and that pattern is saved there. And now I'm going to continue exploring. Maybe a bit more of a kind of walking bass line. Yeah, that's kind of nice. If it was a bit more dialed back, well, let's just add this in. Maybe a bit less filter envelope. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, let's add that in there. I'm gonna have a little less saturation on the drums. Just make the drums a little bit softer. And what are we going to do with these hats? Okay, those hats are quite intense now. That's nice subtle hats. Okay, let's do something with this lead line. Let's try. Okay, that's quite intense, but I kind of like how it's exciting the resonator. Okay, yeah. This is good. This is good. Let's add there. Let's try a bit more plucked. Oh, that's. Oh, that's nice. So let's look at the patterns. So we've got 8 patterns there so far. Let's. Okay, so let's get rid of these ones here, and let's. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, I think we've got the kind of backbone of the track now. I'm now going to create some different variations to build it up, to break it down, so we can build in a bit of a flow that we can build into our keyframed sequence. So these macros at the top basically control all the engines all at once. So you can go pretty wild with these. And you can always just return back to one of the stored patterns. What I'm going to do here is let's drop the kick out, maybe. Add some more space here, dialing up the space. Let's maybe drop the bass out. Let's turn the bass off altogether. And then, okay, let's just stop. Yeah, let's add this one in. Some nice twinkly lead, and then maybe let's just drop it out altogether. Add that one back in, then go. Let's make. Okay, let's go back and look at some of these patterns we've got. Okay, let's start thinking about where this is going to start. Let's. What is it? We've got this percussion thing in there. Okay. Okay, let's start building a sequence. So I just click here to add this pattern to the sequence. And here I've got an 8-bar sequence that is basically going from and to the same pattern. And what I'm going to do here is turn the tone up a little bit. And then I'm going to use this overwrite button to create this little filter sweep. Tell you what, that's going to be, let's add that into the sequence there. Okay. Right, I'm going to add that twice to the sequence. Now I'm going to drag this one back. So it basically drops straight into that kind of drop. Let's audition this from here. Nice. So you can see here that these points are operating just like keyframes. So what I can do here is I can drag out this arrangement to 16 bars. So I can basically create the sort of a double length track just by dragging these markers out. And that's a really, I think, one of the best things about being able to work with music this way is you can just kind of stretch it out however long or however short you want to stretch it. Okay, so where are we going to take this next? Let's just build out this arrangement and okay, yeah, let's have a drop in here. Add that there. Drop that there, and then that in there, add to the end of the sequence. Let's zoom this out a little bit. And maybe dial that polysynth back. Overwrite that there. Then let's go back to here. And then let's drop it. Let's drop that back in. Add it twice, shorten that one to 0. So we've got quite a decent long sequence here. shrink this down a bit. Needs to move on a bit faster there. Let's just go for a super short arrangement here. Let's just make all of these 4, and then we can have a super snappy radio edit dub techno track. Okay. So you can see that with this keyframe approach, you can create really evolving structures really easily without having to painstakingly go into each individual automation curve and draw it in. And then if you change your mind about the length of it, you just drag one of these markers out. And much like ripple editing in video editors, it just drags out everything downstream from that keyframe. Okay, that one needs a little bit longer to do its thing. Let's try that again. I think that needs a little bit of, maybe a bit more. Let's make the reverb. Ooh. Okay. All right. Let's overwrite that, and then drop that. Bring that back a bit. And then overwrite that, and then it drops straight back down into. Okay. So yeah, pretty much got the arrangements for a nice chill dub techno track. I can see the clock on the camera up there, so that is pretty much 30 minutes end to end that I built an entire track using this keyframe method in Scapeshift. Scapeshift is available in my shop, link is in the description. You'll need a full license of Native Instruments Reaktor to run it. That might change at some point in the future. I'm working on it, but for now, you need a full license of Reaktor. There's tons of other videos on Scapeshift, loads of different ways you can use it. There's also a live performance version of Scapeshift called Pattern Shift. That's also available in my shop, and they're actually both available together as a bundle. So check all of that stuff out. I've also got a Patreon. If you want to support me on Patreon, there's a whole bunch of stuff I do over there. I've got a second channel called Practice Notes, where I talk about the art and practice of leading a creative life. And finally, please do like, please do subscribe. More videos will be coming soon.